All right, what's going on, everyone? So today we're going to do something a little bit different, if you can imagine that. We're going to talk about some aspects of the shooting yesterday at the Trump rally. Now, first off, I want to say that I love you all. Regardless of political belief, any fellow American has a place here in my heart, full stop. Now, this is not an area of expertise for me. We're going to get into something here that I have a little more background knowledge in. But when you're looking at how this investigation is playing out, this is not something I spend a lot of time studying. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert overnight. There's a lot of people much better suited than I to get into kind of the nuance of the information that's coming out. I'm sure there's already been jokes floating around the internet about how the COVID expert became the tank warfare expert in Ukraine, and then the Middle East expert. Now they're going to be a forensic ballistics expert or something. And not me anyway. So that's not the direction we're headed. In fact, I'm not really even going to get into kind of a breakdown of what we know so far because it's all over the place. And there's been a lot of conflicting information. And I'm very, very nervous, and we'll get into why here in a second, about spreading inaccurate information around this event when we don't necessarily need all of the answers. We want all of the answers, and we'll get those. But nothing's going to change if it takes another 6 hours or another 12 hours or 24 even to get the accurate information as to what all played out here. Again, get into that in the second part of the video here. Now, the first part that I wanted to lead off with was just, we're better than this, or I believe that we're better than this. It might not always seem like it. It might not seem like it right now as we're watching all of this craziness play out. An attempted political assassination is what it looks like. That's not what we do here in the United States. It's happened in the past. But I, in my heart, believe that is not who we are as Americans. It's not how we make our political decisions. And I think the vast majority of people watching this and around the country would agree with that sentiment. There's also going to be a desire here to kind of paint with broad brushstrokes any information that comes out from this investigation. And I know that I'm guilty of that as well in some of my reporting, looking at conflicts around the world, taking an extreme portion of a specific group in a country and kind of using that to layer over an entire population, and it's not accurate, right? So I know that's something I need to be better with myself. I catch myself doing it sometimes and try to dial it back. We're going to see it play out here as well. This is just going to be a great example, right? We need to think about this one individual as the exception, not the rule, when it comes to any information that comes out about him, his background, his beliefs, anything like that. Exception, not the rule. Now, the second thing, then this kind of leads into the second aspect that I thought was worth addressing. And this is something that I do have a little more experience in, covering conflicts around the world. And that's that foreign adversaries are going to be jumping all over this to try to spread division. They're going to be trying to take advantage of the situation as best they can, likely already are. In fact, if they're not, would be shocking. So a major focus, and it's just something to keep in mind, right? Just something to be aware of as you're consuming information around something as contentious and potentially divisive as a attempted political assassination. So a major focus for many of our adversaries around the world, be it China, Russia, Iran, or others in the information space, is not like leaking classified information or exposing the truth and like getting the uncomfortable truth out there. I mean, they'll do that when they can, but a big part of it, because it's so easy, is just driving division, just trying to get us angry at one another. And you can hop on social media, any number of social media platforms right now, and see it playing out in real time. It's all around this current event, but any other event, really. You can see how certain aspects, and that doesn't negate that we as Americans are going to argue about things, right? It's not everything that we disagree about is promoted or seeded by foreign actors, not by a long shot. But those are the things. Anytime there's going to be a natural disagreement is often when these adversarial nations jump on that and try to deepen that divide. Right? So it's not all their fault, but they do try to take advantage, and I think it's worth keeping in mind here. And this is one of the reasons that these information campaigns by our adversaries is so hard to beat, because it's just about sowing confusion or doubt. So those little scraps of partial truths or interesting speculation that kind of get us riled up. Sometimes, again, they'll start it. It begins in a Russian bot farm, if you will. That has happened at times. Other times we do it ourselves, and they just jump in and decide to kind of add fuel to the fire. And if you think about it, it's a good tactic. It's an effective tactic. And the reason for this is clear, right? It's to confuse us. It's to distract us. It's the more that we're arguing amongst ourselves about anything, the less energy and focus we have to do anywhere else. Again, we're distracted. For our adversaries, a distracted America is a good thing. We're not as powerful as we otherwise might be. So what we're seeing play out right now in Pennsylvania with the investigation around all of this is just it's prime to be taken advantage of by, again, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and maybe others to push anything at all that could be divisive. You know, they might push that he was the member of a political group, that he had a certain religious leaning, certain ethnicity, watched a certain type of show, had different hobbies, whatever it might be. Anything. I mean, this is all important, relevant information, right? It'll come out in good time. Fortunately, there's no major decisions that need to be made in the next couple hours, so we can afford to wait. If we don't have that information in 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, we're going to be okay. We don't need it to make immediate real-time decisions like you might on a battlefield in the middle of a firefight. So I know we want all the information right now, but we do have the time to kind of be patient and cautious and wait for official information to come out about this. But in this context of events like today, our adversaries don't care. It's about adding confusion, about getting us riled up and arguing with one another. So if you come across a piece of information, and look, I'm guilty of this too, if you come across a piece of information that makes you feel a certain way, gets you riled up in one direction or another, and you're thinking, I got to share this. This is big. This explains it all. Or this reinforces a belief that I had and why X, Y, and Z is bad. Think about that. It very well might be put out there into the information space and pushed by foreign adversaries that want you to feel a certain way. Again, there's no doubt when you have a major event like this, there's going to be accurate, truthful information that comes out that's going to make people upset in a lot of different directions, and that's a natural human reaction. We're all going to feel that in one way or another, but I think it's worth keeping in mind, especially in a time of heightened tensions like this, that we are very prone to being taken advantage of by people that do not have our best interest in mind. You know, we argue a lot amongst one another. We spend a lot of time talking about how the other side is bad or disagreements and all of that. But again, at the end of the day, I want to bring it back to we are better than this. I believe we're better than this. This isn't how we resolve our issues here in the United States. And especially at this time of heightened tension, just keep in mind that some of the information floating around out there is not designed to bring us together. It's designed to push us further apart. And I don't think anyone here in the United States, any of my fellow Americans, wants to see us divided even further. If anything, this is a time for us to come together. So again, wrapping up, just want to reiterate, I love you all, regardless of political beliefs, political leanings, ideologies. Keep trying to gather information out there. If I come across anything more, I'll try to share it on other platforms. But that's about the extent that I felt like it was worth getting into today. Thanks for watching.